I'm just so grateful for the series we are doing this month. This was a series topic that someone DM'd me on Instagram and asked us to do a series on. So we are exploring parenting dynamics and dilemmas the whole month of August, and it happens to be perfect timing for me personally, because my children's book that I wrote with my daughter, London, Can I Sit Here? It releases tomorrow. Can I Sit Here? So I'm so excited. This is her. Anybody who read What If I'm Wrong? I tell this story in there about how my dream at 11, like I distinctly remember my 11th birthday and wanting to be a published writer and crying myself to sleep because, that was just never going to happen for me. And my daughter ended up signing this book contract for this book on her 11th birthday. And so I tell the story in What If I'm Wrong about just how sometimes I really think God works answering prayers from generation to generation. Like sometimes I think the prayers that for whatever reason can't get answered in our life, I think God is so faithful that he may bring them to fulfillment in the next generation. And that is what this book is for us. So man, it's her real life story. I hope you guys pause this episode right now. Can I Sit Here? We'll link it in the show notes. It's just such a beautiful book. It's her real life story of her experience going through bullying in 3rd grade. So support London, support her in her new author endeavor. If you have a kid you care about, it is a perfect book, I think, for back to school. I hope a lot of my teacher friends will add it to their, how they do like those Amazon wish lists?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, put it on there. Yeah. Can I Sit Here?
Yeah, I'm so excited. It's such a sweet book and a sweet story. And actually, the theme of the book is what we're diving into on the podcast today, which is the topic of bullying. We have a special guest, London, Heather's daughter, who will share her personal experience and offer just valuable insights.
I cannot wait for everybody to meet London. This is her first ever podcast debut. She does have a YouTube channel that I just started letting her do a few months ago. And why does she already have more followers than me? She has crazy. Like 10,000 followers. Yeah. On her YouTube. She is only 13 years old. And of course, so be kind. She has zero media training. So what I'm worried about is when we bring her on, I was kind of practicing with her last night, just like how to answer questions when, people are going to be listening and there's a camera on you. But I'm a little worried that she'll just like answer the question. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not give anything. And then so if that happens, Haley, we're just gonna jump in there. And maybe ask a follow-up question so that she can share her story. This is why I loved teaching communication, honestly, because it's fun for me as a mom to watch my daughter go through this experience with us today on the podcast, because it's kind of like what I did with my students. I was a public speaking director for many years, and allowing people to learn even like their own voice. I've just always been very called to that. Like I love watching people grow in, like, even hearing the things that they say and saying, oh my goodness, I said that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Communicating your thoughts in front of people, it's just such a valuable skill. So anyway, as a mom, I am personally super invested in our show today. She's going to share in her own words as Haley shares some of the submissions that we get from some younger kids and things that parents send in about their kids. London's going to give her expert 13-year-old expert advice on what do you do when I'm feeling left out, when maybe I'm actually being bullied, or I'm just feeling really lonely, or how do I make friends? Those types of questions.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting episode, and I'm honestly so excited to hear from a 13-year-old as our expert today. But first, should we jump into group chat? I found something on Threads I want to share with you.
I love I don't ever want to lose this. Send us a message. I mean, obviously you guys submit to it, but send us a message if maybe on Instagram or email if you are enjoying the group chat. What I like about the group chat personally is I just think sometimes as Christians, like, we can over spiritualize everything, or you know what I mean? And stop being just normal human beings.
Yeah.
Or like we put on a fake persona. I don't know. So I like the idea of having this space in the episode where Christians and non-Christians alike can just be like, here's what I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
this is like
for
real
sure.
life stuff that people deal with. Okay, yes. Haley, yes, let's enter the group chat. Remember, if you want to send your submission to the group chat, send it to Haley at whatifimwrongpod@gmail.com. You can also send her a voice memo or a written submission. These submissions are where we just kind of look at real life relational dynamics, maybe what's happening in your family or with a friend or in a romantic relationship. And you just submit it to the group chat like you would a group chat that you send to your friends. And we process it together. So here we go. Are you ready? Let's enter the group chat.
All right, so this is a text message between a guy and a girl in a relationship, and the guy says, I sent you some money to go get some food and stuff for later because I have to work, so I'm gonna need you to watch the kids for me. The girl says, I'm sorry, I can't because today is Sunday and I plan on resting all day. The guy says, can you please watch them for me? If I don't get them, then she's threatening to keep them for a long time. Please do this for me. The girl responds with, sorry, can't do that. Send them to your mom because this is my rest day, but I'll still get some food to cook for you when you get off. I can't watch the kids. Love you.
Okay, so pause. So listener, what Haley's reading is somebody posted a screenshot. Was it a screenshot, Haley?
Yep, a screenshot.
Of their text messages. Obviously, a girlfriend, her boyfriend must have children from a previous relationship. Yes. And he texts her and says, hey, I'm going to send you some money. I need you to watch the kids. And she says, oh, I'm not planning on watching your kids today.
Yep.
Okay, what were the responses to that?
Okay.
So already I want you guys thinking, is she wrong? Is she wrong for telling her boyfriend, I'm not going to watch your kids today? What do you guys think? What were some of the responses?
All right, here's the first one. A lot of these men with kids be looking for y'all to be stepmoms instead of girlfriends and wives. They cry about not being able to see their son, but will date women so that they can get away with not having to be a full-time parent on the weekends. That was the first one. The next one is, you're wrong. Your partner asked you for help and you refused, but still had the nerve to offer to cook for him and tell him you love him. And then the last one says, single dad here. No, you're not wrong. Also, y'all shouldn't be together.
So I guess what he's saying is you're not wrong for not wanting to watch the kids, but you shouldn't be with somebody if you're not willing to watch their kids.
Yeah.
So this is interesting to me. And I, obviously, like, my communication brain is like, I'm somebody that always wants context. Whenever any friend asks me for advice, I'm always like, okay, well, what's the full context? I would need to know if I was this person's friend and she sent me these text messages and was like, hey, he's really ticked at me for not watching his kids. Is that wrong with me? I would need to know, is this a pattern? Is he regularly, when he's supposed to have his kids, asking you to be the babysitter, right?
Yeah.
Or is this like the first time he's ever asked for help and you're just saying no? So, and this is the same, I think, as like friendship too. Mm-hmm. If you're friends with somebody who's a single parent. Yeah. So I would say if this is a pattern, absolutely, I don't think you're wrong. And you have to put boundaries and people, as a parent, it's just, I have to find childcare for my kids. I mean, I have dogs.
Yeah.
And seriously, do you know how much money it costs me? I don't leave my house without finding somebody that will come house sit. Yeah. Because I have 3 little dogs. Yeah. And I don't put that on my friends. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't put that on my mom. I will say this too. I don't know, like, I'm somebody who doesn't expect people to like do things for me regularly for free. That's not like my family environment either. Yeah. I would never just like, if it's an emergency, absolutely my family would jump in. If it's not an emergency, if this is just regular life, I would just always pay somebody to come and help. I don't know. What were your thoughts?
I like what you said about it being a pattern, because if he's constantly asking her to do this, then that's not okay. But if it is a one-time thing, then maybe there needs to be grace and she can step up, especially if there is that threat of maybe losing his kids or not having the custody that he wants. But I just think also there's just a balance between taking advantage or having a healthy relationship with your girlfriend. And like that one submission that says like they're not looking for a girlfriend or a wife, they're looking for a stepmom. I think that's so true.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't think that's wrong.
Yeah.
If you have kids and you are in a relationship, you probably are looking for somebody who is willing to, I mean, I hope that you want to be with somebody who's willing to parent your kids. I do think women in general should not, I don't think, like, I think girlfriends should not be expected to do the same things that wives do.
Yeah, right.
So, I don't know. This seems like an opportunity for more communication.
Yeah.
And talking about the reality of what it means to be in a relationship with somebody who has kids.
Yeah.
So, did we give an answer? We did.
Yeah.
If it's a pattern,
yeah,
I don't think she's wrong. I think if this was an emergency, then sis, if I was your friend, I would take you back and be like, you're not going to, like, no, you're wrong. Yeah. This is a person who is asking you for help, as in any other relationship. I think when it's an emergency, we help. So
yes.
That's what we think today. Send us your submissions by sending an email to Haley at whatifimwrongpod@gmail.com. Thanks for entering the group chat with us. Okay, before we get to our submissions and we bring on the sweet, the beautiful, the lovely, the kind London Day, first, let's define the terms. So remember, for this segment, I'm going to give you a word and its actual definition. And I want to ask you to ask yourself how knowing the actual definition may change how you see your relationship with that word. Today's term is bullying. So let's define the term bullying. The dictionary says it's the use of force, coercion, or threat to abuse, intimidate, or aggressively dominate others, often repeated over time. But here's what that definition, I think, leaves out. Bullying isn't always loud. It isn't always fists or hallway shoves. Sometimes it is silent exclusion. Sometimes it's passive-aggressive comments. Sometimes it's pretending that someone doesn't exist or trying to make somebody feel invisible. And we tend to picture bullying as like a schoolyard problem. But what if it never really ends? What if, and I know some of you are listening to this like, yes, sister. What if adults can be bullies too? Just with more polished language and better outfits. I cannot express enough how opposite to Christianity the act of bullying is. If you're pastor or politicians or bosses or spouse or friends are using these types of tactics in their communication with others, this for you as a Christian should be a red flag. To follow Christ is to reject the communication patterns of control, shame, and intimidation, because Christianity at its core is antithetical to the power-grabbing rhetoric we often see used in our world to build our earthly kingdoms. Leaders who bully their way forward may be the norm, but Christians are to walk the narrow path. This upside-down kingdom that exemplifies, what do we call it in Scripture? The fruits of the Spirit, evidence of my relationship with God, that Christ is living in me. Christ is alive in me. What are the fruits of the Spirit? Kindness, gentleness, peace, and self-control. Jesus didn't coerce people into truth. He didn't threaten them. He loved them. And he looked for ways to restore their brokenness by inviting them into relationship with himself.
Yes. Yeah, I love that. Bullying doesn't just disappear with age. It evolves. And adults, they might not shove each other in hallways, but they exclude or manipulate or use shame as a weapon. And when it's dressed up in leadership, religion, or even concern, it can be harder to name.
So good. You know what? So we're going to bring London on. Okay, friends, we're going to do some submissions with her. I do want to say, just because we just did this, define the term on bullying, before London comes on, I do want to say this to any parent who's dealing with a child being bullied. This is just Heather's opinion. Take it or leave it. For me, with my children, when it is like a serious incident that is affecting how they are able to show up at school, I really just want to challenge parents to take it seriously.
Mm.
I don't know adults. I just think it's really interesting how when it comes to kids who have very little social agency, we'll just keep throwing them in horrible situations and like toughen up or figure it out. But how many of us as adults would keep going to a job
Yeah.
if you are getting physically hurt,
Yeah.
right? Or screamed at or humiliated? Most adults would say, "Oh my goodness, I have to find another job." I really think parents, I'm not saying like just one little thing happens, that's different, but I'm saying if your child is going through like systematic targeting at school, please consider bringing them to another school or homeschooling them. I think we need to take these things more seriously because this is really deeply impacting our kids. I saw it with my daughter, and I'm just going to tell you, she was at a Christian school at the time, and it was very controversial what I did, but I took her out and I put her in a public school, and that's where she finished her year, and she had a wonderful experience when she finished that year. And then when we moved to Michigan, we put her back in a Christian school and she was doing fine there, right? It just, sometimes it's the dynamics of the kids in the class and the teachers, and is the administration supporting you? Okay, so we're going to bring on London, but as she shares her story, if you have a kid going through this, please pray, ask the Lord to guide you. I just want to invite you to take what they're saying as seriously as you would take it if it was your spouse coming home and saying, I'm being physically hurt at work. What would you do? Let's bring on London. Okay, I am so excited today because we have my baby girl, my one and only, kicking off this series with us that we're going to be doing on parenting. We have my daughter, London Marie Day. Say hi to my friends, London.
Hello.
She's going to be going through our submissions. We got some submissions from some young people talking about their experiences with feeling left out and bullied. But first, London, so your book releases tomorrow.
It's tomorrow?
It's going to release tomorrow, girl.
Oh my goodness.
You got to know your own PR here. Tomorrow. It's called Can I Sit Here? London, why did you title it Can I Sit Here?
Because I was in third grade and I was trying to make friends. And so I went up to a table full of kids and I asked if I could sit with them. And I said, "Can I sit here?" And they said no. And they just like got up and left. So,
and that was like the beginning. There was so much more.
Yeah.
That happened in that year of kind of targeting and harassment that culminated in me deciding to pull you out of that school. Right?
Yeah.
And so going back to that time, we're going to get to submissions in a second, but going back to that time, London, what did that feel like, look like? What would you say to somebody who is still in the situation where maybe their parents aren't pulling them out, right? And so they're having to keep showing up and they have nowhere to sit at lunch. What would you say to that kid?
I would say go to the places that like make you happy. I don't know if they're in like art or like singing or like if they really like writing. I would say go to those places.
Okay, so what did that look like for you?
For me, that would look like maybe watching a show with my parents at like 9:00 at night.
Yeah, that's where we started our Survivor. Me and London watch all the seasons of Survivor, and it started, Haley, because she didn't have friends at school. And so I had to make a conscious effort. And so actually, London, what would you say to a kid about like, what does that look like, the dialogue with your parents to be vulnerable enough to say, I just remember you had a conversation with me where, I hope you don't mind me saying this. Can we talk honestly for people? Is it okay?
I'm scared, but yeah.
If you want us to take it out, we'll take it out. But I just remember you had a conversation with me where you said, it feels like no one ever chooses me. Do you remember when you said that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I made, and what she meant was because she has two brothers who, naturally will go do, like watching Dragon Ball Z or Pokemon, whatever stuff they do together. And then London had moved so much that she struggled to make a best friend. And I just remember she said to me one day, like, it feels like nobody ever chooses me. And so I then, as a parent, made a conscious choice to make London feel chosen by me. And so that changed the way, where normally I think my natural instinct, because this is how my family was, like we did things as a family. It wasn't necessarily individual between parent-child. I have made individual choices to do things with like just me in London because it's important for her to feel chosen. So London, how did you even come to a point, I guess, what would you say to a kid who's like maybe not telling their parents about what's happening at school or how they're feeling? What in you had you be self-aware enough to even know I need to tell my mom and my dad what's happening?
I think when it gets to a point where you just feel like sad all the time,
Hmm.
to the point that you don't even want to go to school,
Hmm.
or you don't really like want to get out of bed, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say if they don't want to tell their parents, who can they tell?
Hmm.
Do they have like a friend who maybe moved away that you can send a text to or send a call to? Or maybe like a guidance counselor, because they're there for you and that's their job. It's a free space to talk. So
Hmm.
that would
Hmm.
be what I would say.
Yeah. Okay. Are you ready for this, London?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to read some of these submissions. Haley, what did we get?
Okay, so London, this is something someone submitted to us. It says, in 6th grade, I started hanging out with a new group of girls who I thought were going to be my real friends. At first, it was great. We texted all the time, sat together at lunch, and they added me to their group chat. But then they got distant. They'd whisper and laugh when I sat down. I found out they made a new group chat without me where they were saying mean things like, she's so dramatic and she tries too hard. I felt completely crushed and invisible. I didn't even want to go to school. I haven't told my mom yet because I feel embarrassed, and I keep thinking maybe I am too much. Has anyone else gone through this? What do I do when the people I thought were my friends turn on me like this?
Have you ever gone through that, London?
Yeah. I would say what you should do is maybe talk to your parents, or again, go to the things that make you happy.
Mm.
And also, I would say like they're not your friends if they're doing that. And so maybe you should try to
Mm.
make other ones.
Mm. London, little Heather Day. Okay, yes, those are not your friends. Because here, and this is not a define the terms, but I just want you guys listening, tell your kids. So this is, I do a whole section on this when I used to teach interpersonal communication, because the definition of the word friendship is a relationship that is mutually productive and characterized by mutual positive regard. So I always would tell my students, if they are making a group chat without you talking about you, if they are like sending inappropriate messages to your boyfriend, if they are cutting you down in front of people. I had a friend, I remember in middle school, that would like always, when other people came around, she would say things to embarrass me, like say personal information that would just make me feel embarrassed. And then I think the conflict comes in. We keep saying to ourselves, but this is my friend. Why are they treating me? It's not your friend.
Yeah.
And so there is a healthiness and a boundary in saying, oh, my friends, and think about this even for you with how you navigate friendship, you are only a friend to somebody when you are enhancing their life, making their life better. It's a mutually productive relationship, and there is mutual positive regard. Is this person even your friend? Haley, have you ever had experiences like this?
Yeah, I think the main one that sticks out to me was in 8th grade. I went on, have you guys heard of like those Washington, D.C. trips? Do you guys
Yeah.
have those?
Yeah.
Okay, so I went on one of those. I did not want to go, but my mom was like, you're going to this. And so I was like, okay. So I went, and we were at this, like, some museum that had a gift shop. And these two girls who I wasn't like best friends with, but I wasn't like not friends with them. They, like, I saw them whispering, and then they took something from the gift shop and they put it in my bag. So it looked like I was, it looked like I was stealing.
Oh
But
my
what they
gosh.
didn't know is there was a mirror, and I saw them do it. And so I took it out of my bag and I put it back and I left the gift store. And I just remember like going back out to where everyone was standing, tears in my eyes. And I was like, that was horrible. Like,
Yeah.
how could people do that? And I think, I don't know, what I've experienced is it does come from a place of insecurity on their end. And it took a long time. I mean, I don't even know those girls now, but it took a long time to like give grace and like recover sounds like a strong word,
No,
but be
not
like, wow,
really.
that was hard. Like
Yeah.
that was not nice of them.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's what comes to my mind.
I remember I don't have even, maybe I've told you this story, London. I'm not sure, but it was like right before it was seventh grade. And at the end of the year, we did a trip to Six Flags, which is like an amusement park. And I was just so excited to go to Six Flags. Well, a week or so before the seventh grade trip to Six Flags, my friend group at the time had decided that I was iced out. Every now and then, if you're a group of girls in middle school, you pick one person that now is
Yeah.
no longer a part of the group. So my number was drawn. I was no longer a part of the group, and I remember thinking to myself, like, I want to go to Six Flags, but I'm not, like, all the roller coasters are for twos. And so am I going to go? I don't even have anybody to sit on the bus with. So anyway, I went to Six Flags and I sat on roller coasters by myself. And that memory has always stayed with me. And it's not like it was a fun, I don't even remember having so much fun, but I just want to tell you, this is what I learned for somebody listening. I learned that I was capable of going to Six Flags by myself. And I learned that I was capable of riding on a bus by myself. And I learned that I was capable of still riding a roller coaster, even if nobody wanted to ride with me. And so sometimes these situations aren't even always that there's like this happy ending, but what can you learn about who you are in the middle of other people trying to tell you who you are? You're a bad friend, or we don't like you, or whatever. What do you know to be true about who you are? And is it possible for you to show up as that person? Can I ask you this, London? We'll do another submission, but how has that experience that went on for like almost a year for you, and it was in third grade specifically, how has that experience changed how you see yourself today, now that you just finished seventh grade, you're going into eighth grade next week? How does that change how you see yourself?
I would say that changes how I see myself with like who I hang out with and who I um put around myself, because I don't want to be with people who I see like treat other people bad.
Yes.
So, yeah, I would say that it's like opened my eyes more to like the people around me and their habits.
Do you think that you are sensitive? Like, do you feel like you have become maybe more protective of who you let into your heart or your life because of this experience?
Definitely.
So in what ways does that, and what does it look like? How does London make friends now? How has that changed that process for you?
I'm like scareder to like go up to people, I would say. Like it's like even hard to like say like hi, but like once I talk to you for a while, then I'm like myself. It just takes a second.
Yeah. And so I just think it's important to realize for parents that are listening, London has had so many positive experiences. London has had best friends. And yet, what happened in third grade, I think you were 9 years old, has absolutely impacted her, even still today as she enters eighth grade. So, even what Haley was saying, like, oh, I don't want to say like it was a huge deal, but it is.
Yeah.
When we've only had so many experiences, those fundamental feelings of exclusion do, I think, change how we show up in other spaces for a very long time. Okay, do we have another one, Haley?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do the other one.
There's this kid in my class who's been making fun of me almost every day this year. It started when I messed up reading out loud in English. He laughed and called me slow. Ever since then, it's like he decided I'm the one to pick on. He mocks the way I talk, bumps into me in the hall on purpose, and sometimes gets other people to laugh along with him. I've tried ignoring him, but it doesn't stop. I've tried being nice, but he just makes more fun of that too. I haven't told anyone because I don't want to make a big deal out of it or have him say I'm a snitch. But honestly, it's starting to mess with my confidence. I dread going to school some days. What should I do when ignoring just isn't working?
What advice would you give, London?
I would say that situation has escalated since it started. Like maybe it started with
Mm.
him mocking, but now he's bumping you in the hallway.
Mm.
And
Mm.
so I would say it's that for now till it isn't. So he's
Hmm.
actually like hitting you or like punching you or like
Yeah.
you just don't know. So I would definitely tell an adult or
Mm.
someone you trust. And also like his reactions, like it reflects him, it doesn't reflect you. So there's nothing
Yeah.
Mm.
wrong with you. It's him.
Mm.
He might be
Mm.
having a hard time at home or like you don't know what other people are going through that makes them feel that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you what would be the adult that you would, if this was your friend telling you, "Hey, this is, what do I do, London? This person is doing this to me." Who would you tell them to go tell first?
I would say your parents. They're there
Okay.
for you. They care for you. They love you.
Yeah. Anybody at the school?
Guidance counselor, school therapist, maybe even a teacher that you really, really trust.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Making This is actually a really good point that I didn't think about until listening to these responses is, I think it's important to tell our kids to try to develop relationships with people at the school, in the sense
Mm.
that, what club maybe can you join? Actually, London, you said this in the very beginning, right? Like, what club, if you
Yeah.
love art, is there an art club that you can be a part of? Which then now I have a teacher or a trusted mentor that I can tell when something comes up. Encouraging our kids to be in different, like London, for you, drama. You
Yeah.
like loved your drama teacher, right? And would be able to tell her if things were happening in class. That she became like a person for you at the school. um Sometimes if it's hard to put yourself out there with the kids, who are the adults in the room that you can put yourself out there to? I don't know, what do you think, Haley?
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I totally agree with that. I think finding trusted people that you can tell to talk about it. And I think that like it is so hard, especially in a school setting, because depending on your age, if you're in middle school, you're hopping around to different classrooms and there's not always an adult present who might see what's going on.
Yeah,
And so
totally.
being able to have those relationships to go and explain the situation is, yeah, so important.
London, I want to ask you this question. How has, in your opinion, do you feel like social media, or the ability to have cell phones and text, how does that change the dynamics for you at school? And I know for you, it's not changing because that's all you know. But like for me, we didn't have that. So if somebody's being mean to you at school, well, now I'm home and I'm not hearing anything. Is it normal for you in middle school to like have people telling you, oh, now this person's sending me mean texts, or they're
Mm.
posting about me online? Can you just tell people who are listening what that experience is for a kid who also has this online world that extends past school?
I would say I haven't heard at my school like a lot of that specifically. I
Okay.
mean, there's been like a like Instagram thing of multiple people where
Okay. What is that?
like they'll post your picture on the school like account and then the description they'll say stuff about you.
Oh, wow. So kids will see other, like their classmates, and somebody, is it anonymous? Do they know who's doing the posting?
It's anonymous. We don't know
And so they'll post their picture
Wow.
and say good things or bad things about just a
bad
random
things.
person. Oh, it's only for bad things.
Yeah, like it's like a bad things. Like there's like three different accounts and it's like all different people and people will like send like submissions that they want them to put on the thing. Yeah.
And so then what is
Wow.
that dynamic like at school? Have you ever been on it? Has a friend ever been on it? And then what do you guys do as a group if somebody in your group is on that page?
I specifically haven't been on the bad one. There's a good one too.
Okay.
I've been on that one. I
Okay.
haven't been on the bad one. Um, I guess one of my friends, not one of my friends specifically, but like their boyfriend has been on it.
Mm,
So, yeah.
like saying bad things
Mm.
about him.
Hmm.
And so then what's the reaction in the group? I'm trying to, like, what you guys just say haha, or what happens?
Well, there was like this whole like school investigation thing at
Oh,
the end of the
good.
year. And they never found out who it was.
Okay.
Oh my
It never
gosh.
stopped, but they were like interviewing a bunch of people, calling them down to the office. So yeah.
Okay, so somebody did
Wow.
tell teachers and they're trying to figure out who's running these accounts.
Yeah.
Haley, can you imagine
No,
being
that's
12
crazy.
and being posted in London schools? She has like almost 1,000 kids, right? She goes to a huge little public school. 1,000 kids get to comment on, let's say, your body, right? Or
That's
what happened
crazy.
at a gathering.
It's so crazy how it's like progressed, because when I was growing up, like we did have social media, but it wasn't that. It was like matchmaking. So they'd post a picture of like a boy from the yearbook and a girl from the yearbook, and be like, oh, these two. It was nothing like that. And so it's crazy to hear how, yeah, how it's like progressed. And unfortunately, I guess it's not that surprising with all of the bullying we see online, but even just like discouraging to hear that they couldn't figure out who was running the account or
Yeah.
shut it down. Like, that's horrible.
Yeah. Okay, London, last words. What would you say to somebody how would you actually, let me ask you this, a parent who has a child that is being bullied horribly?
Mm.
Can you speak to what you would maybe ask that parent to consider about how their child may be feeling, or should they switch them schools or whatever? A kid is being bullied horribly and a parent is trying to decide, what do I do? What would you suggest to that parent?
I would suggest sitting down with your child and having a conversation on how this is affecting them and where they
Mm,
want to go from there. So whether that's switching schools or they want to like go to like a certain activity, like get an art teacher or
mhm.
get a music teacher or go in like football
Mhm. Mhm.
and spend more time with your child so they don't feel that they're alone like they have their parents.
Hmm. Hmm. That's really sweet. London, I hope everybody reads your book. It's a cute little children's story. I am so proud of you as your mom, for being able to take a story that was really hard and share it with people and hope that something good comes out of it. I love you and I'm proud of you. Thank you so
Love
much for
you.
joining us. I want to close every episode with a segment I call Day in the Bible. And this is where I share something I have learned in Bible study with you that will beg the question, what if I'm wrong about how I have been reading or thinking or explaining this Bible passage? Today, to stay in our bullying theme, I want to look at John chapter 8. So, when we talk about bullying, we usually only picture the victim, but let's take
Mm.
a closer look at a Bible story where, like, everybody is playing a role. In John 8, religious leader, this is, by the way, the story of the woman that's caught in adultery. So, religious leaders drag in a woman caught in adultery into the public square. And by the way, they bring only the woman, which actually the law demands that you bring the man and the woman. They bring only the woman. Again, we're looking at that power, shame, coercion, abuse, and they humiliate her. And they have her stand in the center of the temple. And they demand justice. And they demand that Jesus weigh in. Now, here's the thing. This woman wasn't just facing personal shame. She was being used as a tool to trap Jesus. Her pain became someone else's power play. By the way, I do think we do this. I think I say this a lot, um, like in speaking. I just think sometimes Christians have the habit of using people as talking points.
Mm.
That just brought up something in me. Just teared me up a little bit. Using people as talking points and not seeing them as people. Well, what do you think on this? Where do you stand? Right or left on this talking point? This is a person. And I do it is the much more difficult, narrow path, complicated work of trying to see people. And what do we see in the story? Jesus sees a person while everyone else is seeing a power play. Jesus doesn't join the crowd. He stoops low. You know the story. He draws in the dirt and finally says, let any one of you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone." And you know the story one by one. All of these bullies walk away. But here's the twist: Jesus doesn't just protect her, he restores her dignity. He refuses to define her by her worst moment. So, what if we are wrong about who gets written off? What if, like Jesus, we stopped asking, "What did they do?" and started asking, "What do they need?" Am I seeing this as a person? The Bible shows us that when people are thrown to the ground, God doesn't join the crowd. God gets in the dirt and he kneels beside them. That's it for today's episode. Join us next week as we continue on in this theme of parenting.
Next week, we're asking the question, what do I need to know about becoming a parent? You can send me your submissions if you want us to discuss whatever experience you are questioning on the podcast. Email me at whatifimwrongpod@gmail.com.
Special thanks to our special guest, London Day, for sharing her story today. I'm Heather Thompson Day, and I'll see you next week.